Hello there, and welcome back to 5 Minute Monsters, your spark notes to TTRPG monsters. Who do we have today? Oh, the wife's favorite. A true terror and danger, no matter when you happen to find yourself crossing paths with it. The Bulette. The Bullet. The Bulette. Listen, I really don't care how anyone pronounces this. This kind of comes down to Pokemon, to where Lugia, Kyogre, Crow, or any of them, right, wrong, or otherwise, most of the time we're gonna know who you're talking about. So you might be asking yourself, who or what even is a Bulette? This dangerous land shark contains the ability to burrow underground, so anywhere where there's land, you're not safe. It'll come up tearing and destroying anything. Anything is food to it. You can be small, you can be its size, you can be much bigger than it, you're not safe. These armadillo, snapping turtle crocodiles are just terribly dangerous. They're tanks on legs that can dig through the ground, come up and clamp you in half. So where might you find a Bulette? And I kind of already answered that one. Really, anywhere where there's land. They'll go wherever there's food. So if you notice a lot of holes on the ground and not a whole lot of life around, either you're lucky and the Bulettes moved on, or it might just be looking to have you for dinner. You can find them in forests, you can find them in meadows, and any in-between area. They're probably a fairly popular random encounter, though a particularly dangerous one. Or if you've played Baldur's Gate 3, you probably found one in the Underdark. So you might be wondering next, when exactly to bullet? And frankly, bullets are truly dangerous. While you would have higher challenge rating monsters like giants and dragons still win a fight against a bullet, honestly, a lot of times they're gonna avoid it, because why would a giant or a dragon? They're both highly intelligent creatures in certain conditions. Why would they risk fighting something they don't need to? And that bullet will take life and limb as long as it has the ability to. So it might take a giant's hand or a dragon's chunk of scales, and it's just there's no gain most of the time to these higher creatures. As for the party, obviously you can range to where if you're just now capable of hunting and fighting bears, you're probably not safe to be fighting Bulettes. However, even whenever you get into that middleweight class where the Bulette might not exactly TPK the party, it's still dangerous and should not be taken lightly. When I say this thing has the nasty bite, I think this thing defines its challenge rating and then surpasses it when coming across similar weight class of monsters. High AC, chunky hit points, and a nasty bite. So you're probably wondering, why even Bulette in the first place? They're beasts, and to me they're kind of the paragons of fantastical fantasy monsters. It's something that if you take some of the roughest, toughest monsters that exist in the real world, something armored in a way like a rhinoceros, with the formidable strength of a rhinoceros, with the bite of some of the dragon snapping turtles, all of just the nastiest, most lethal things, and put them on a land predator that can go underground. And on top of that, a land predator that can go underground that has a burrowing speed the same as an ancient white dragon. It's a scary encounter, but it's really one that can really get the blood pumping. Any seasoned party members are going to understand that when that thing pops up, you're possibly in some danger. And any newbies are going to be quick to find out that this thing means business. So let's break down this back end a little differently. If you're wondering where to find out more about a Bulette, I would recommend Mr. Rex's video. I know that was a big jumping off point for me wanting to learn a lot more of the lore, the habits, the lifespan of a Bulette, but I also have to recommend AJ Pickett. He's always a gem, and I know he has a video on a bullet as well. I'm sure there are others. I know I'm not talking about any new monsters here in these 5 Minute Monsters. A lot of them are well known. I'm just anticipating trying to tell you the quickest about them, and in addition to that, maybe give you a few new ideas here or there that have just popped into my mind. So, interesting facts. What do we have? What I want you to remember is that if a Bulette can be burrowing, it can be there. The Arctic, meadows, swamp, magma, magical realms, anywhere. If there's ground and something to eat, a Bulette can be there. With this, I'd want to challenge you guys' creative means and figure out what the texture of the ground is. Figure out what it's burrowing through and how that might change the plating on it, how it appears. Is it come to a more sharp, pointed mouth? Does it have a more domed head like it typically does? Just stuff to think about. Another little fun fact that I found interesting is that the original Bulette was one of a handful of creatures that was created by Gary Gygax from buying a cheap generic monster dinosaur kind of pack of toys, and then the Bulette was born from there. It's something that if it strikes me and I happen to be at a Dollar General and see something, I would honestly love to do. It seems like a really great creative experiment. So I can't remember where this came up. Perhaps it was in Mr. Rex's video, but I've heard in their lore that they don't die of old age. they just get bigger. And I think that is something that is incredibly cool and gives you the potential to either have a Gigant or Kaiju-sized Bulette. It seems that we're right here out of time. Recording, I'm at the 7-minute and 27-minute mark, and I'm sure a lot of this will trim down to get us in that 5-minute window. So I just want to say thanks, and thanks again for watching. I appreciate your attention, your time, and magpie responsibly.